Hey everybody, we're back. We are live. We are right at 5 o'clock. It's been a crazy week.
2 weeks.
Crazy 2 weeks. Not even just in wrestling, but in general. But we're talking wrestling. This is This Week in Wrestling. I'm your host, Mike Sandoval. Jeffrey, tell
And
them who
once
you are.
again, it is the J to the E to the double F-free. I am Jeffrey Harris. You took a week off. You took a week off, Mike, and then the whole wrestling industry went upside down.
Exactly.
It
A
was
week.
like it was an omen, like, oh, we're gonna take this week off, and then nothing big's gonna happen. And now
And I'm like,
the whole industry's gone crazy.
I'm gonna go to Knott's, have some pie, have some nice food, get on the
Oh
new
wow.
ride, come back, and I'm like, everything just goes to hell. Let's start with the
Um,
first story.
where do we even start? Because we have like a whole backlog of major stories the last 2 weeks, but just in the last couple days, this
Yeah,
week alone has been a roller coaster just of craziness.
I agree. It's been nuts.
Should we start with this week, or should we backtrack to right after you went on your little trip?
Think we should start right after. This is a build-up thing because this is something
Okay,
that's been going on. It
okay,
has some
so
relevance.
so we're gonna go back because I do have a list here.
Okay.
So here we go. This is actually very exciting news, by the way. So
Mhm.
AAA, which is Lucha Libre AAA, primarily a Mexican-based wrestling organization, they are having their big annual event, which is called Triple Mania.
Mhm.
Basically, think WrestleMania, but this is AAA's version of WrestleMania called Triple
Mhm.
Mania. So Triple Mania 29 is being held in August in Mexico City Arena, and they announced their key matchups, and one of the matchups is none other than the former WWE superstar Andrade against AEW World Champion Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is the AAA Mega Champion. So he will be putting that belt, not the AEW belt, but his AAA belt up for grabs against Andrade on August 14th at Triple Mania at the Mexico City Arena. So, first of all, Mike, your thoughts on that? We are getting this is a huge matchup for the wrestling world, and it's happening in AAA at a big event.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that because I think Andrade versus against Kenny Omega is going to be a fun match. They're both athletic. They're both will do go above and beyond to do what they need to do to please the fans. And AAA is always having a good product. It's almost a guarantee there's going to be blood because it is AAA.
Mm-hmm.
They love the blood there, so it's going to be a fun match. I'm really excited about it. I just hate that I have to wait till August to see it.
Well, I did like they announced it now because it'll get plenty of build up.
Hmm.
And there's another crossover match at this event. Impact Knockouts champion Diano Perazzo will face Fabi Apache in a Reina de Reinas, the Queen of Queens title
Hmm.
match. So we have another big crossover match there. And I believe the main event is Psycho Clown versus Rhea Scorpion in a mask versus hair match. So
Oh,
this,
that's always fun.
yeah, hair versus mask up for grabs. That's this is pretty big for Triple Mania, and we don't really know what Andrade is doing next. There are rumors he's signing with a big promotion, but we don't really know where he's going. So
Yeah. Uh, we'll get into it later because there's another story. There's a reason why we have the headline the way it is, but we'll talk about that later. But I have a feeling I know we kind of could see he
mhm.
may not be there permanently, but may make a stop. But continue.
Okay, so here is the other major story that happened a little while ago. So AEW, they are getting a new TNT show in August called AEW Rampage. So here's the gist of it. AEW Rampage will be their new weekly Warner Media show debuting in August on Fridays. Will air at 10 p.m. So once SmackDown ends, you go over to TNT and you can watch Rampage. It'll be a 1 hour TV show. And then they're moving everything to TBS in 2022. So starting January 2022, Rampage and AEW Dynamite are moving to TBS. So no more Dynamite, no more AEW on TNT. But they are going to have quarterly specials that will be sort of like, remember the old WCW Clash of the Champions?
Yep.
So they will be on TNT quarterly with these special Clash of the Champions style events on TNT. So, but the weekly programming, Dynamite, Rampage, will be moving to TBS starting January 2022. But first, Rampage will be premiering on TNT on Friday nights starting in August. So, a lot to unpack here from AEW. What do you make of the new programming, the new events, and the TBS move here for AEW, Mike?
First, I'll talk about Rampage because I think
Okay.
Rampage is a perfect time. It's 1 hour. That's it.
Right.
In and out, you're done. Great.
And it comes on after SmackDown.
Exactly. So it's leading from wrestling to wrestling. Great. I am curious if my Charter Spectrum gets TBS a little earlier,
Okay.
so I could see it on the East Coast feed, but I don't know. Uh, I hope so. It would be nice. But overall, I think it's a good move. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
still Turner Broadcasting. It's the same thing. It just moves from TNT to TBS. It's no
Okay.
big deal. But
Keep
Rampage is a big thing.
okay. I'm glad they announced their next Warner Media show in January of 2020. So we had to wait like a year and a half to get this announcement, and I was sort of worried it was never coming. So at least we know they are getting this new TV show, and it will be on TNT for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was gonna come. It was just depending on
Yeah.
when and what the strategy is and what was going and it kind of shows you a little bit about
Okay.
if you go into the backstory with AT&T and Discovery and all this other stuff that's been going on. Maybe this has been going on a lot longer than what these talks have been going on a lot longer than we even know. And they were waiting for it to finalize and then be able to start playing what this was going to look like.
It's possible. Now, earlier in January of last year, they renewed AEW Dynamite for Warner Broadcasting until I want to say 2024. So they get basically they get 5 seasons on the Turner networks, the Warner Media networks. So my understanding, based on I think reporting from Dave Meltzer and Wrestling Observer, the deal is not extended. So it's the same length. So once they move to TBS, the length of the deal has not been extended. It's going to be the same length for right now until I guess toward the end of that deal, if they make a new agreement with Warner Media or they negotiate with another network, but we'll see. But yeah, there's all that business going on with AT&T the Discovery merger, which is a whole other thing, and what's going to be happening there.
Yeah.
So what is AT&T want to sell Warner Media? You think in a few years? Like what do you think they're trying to do there?
Well, they still have, I think it's like 70% control of Warner Media.
Okay.
And Discovery has 30, but I have a feeling that eventually AT&T is going to pull themselves out.
Why?
Because they're losing money on it. They overpaid for Warner Media at the time, and now the worth of Warner Media is actually
why buy Warner Media?
Exactly. I don't know. I think they
corporate mergers. Corporate mergers, Michael.
Exactly. You know what it is I think they wanted to get into the streaming play. You buy Warner Media, you have a big library and see what it comes out of it, but you need creative people running the show, and they didn't have creative people running for the studio. They had businessmen, they had suits. Hence the reason why we've seen so much debacle in the film division at Warner.
Okay, so the other big aspect of this deal, PWI Insider, they report that this was an 8-figure payday for AEW. So The good news is they are apparently making out very well from this
Yeah.
programming deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it costs to run like the AEW events with, very little ticket sales right now. I mean, they are getting some tickets at Daly's Place. But do you think they're going to be safely in the black now that they're getting paid by Warner Media?
I think so because
Okay.
I mean, Tony Khan and his family own the
Right.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's not
I
the
don't
only
know.
team they own either.
Yeah, and I don't know if he owns the facility and the building. I don't know if he owns the family owns the facility and the building. If they do, all they're really paying for is for people to work that day, security,
Right.
lighting, and everything else like that. It's
And the
really not that bad.
wrestlers.
Yeah, and the wrestlers. And so when you really look at it, they're not really losing out that much on every show, and they're able to make up with any tickets sold.
Well, I think that was the other thing, like this pandemic, that one of the benefits from WWE
Mhm.
is that they touring around the world costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So WWE, money they weren't making from ticket sales, they were sort of able to make up for the fact they weren't spending all that money
Mm.
to fly wrestlers all over the world to different cities, different arenas, stadiums, and whatnot. So
And then you had him deal
that's
with
kind of the
Peacock.
yeah, and that's kind of the trade-off. And yeah, and then they're getting money. They're getting money from Fox. They're getting money from Peacock.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is from WrestleNomics, Brandon Thurston. In terms of this sort of going from TNT to TBS, TBS is an 81,789,000 homes. 81,789,000 homes. TNT is in 81,342,000. So they're in a similar amount of homes.
Mhm.
But TNT is seen as the more prestigious network. So
Yeah.
do you see TBS as a B network?
No, I see it
Okay.
as the same. I see it even.
Because
I
that's
don't
been one
think.
of some people are saying this is a demotion. Is this a demotion, Michael?
Nah, it's not. They're reading too much into it and looking into it. It's the same
Okay.
freaking company. It's Warner Media. It's just this, and TBS and TNT forever has been like evenly keeled and
Okay.
evenly sold. This ain't no different.
So Dynamite. So we have Rampage, a new show. Dynamite is also going to be completely moving to TBS. Now, supposedly this will help because they won't be preempted on Wednesday nights on TBS like they are now. Because Wednesday nights we have the NBA playoffs,
Mhm.
and then also TBS, Warner Media,
Big-
TNT has an NHL broadcast deal now. So now
Yeah.
so they're going to be doing NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup games. So supposedly this won't happen on TBS, except there is the MLB,
Yeah.
and we have MLB playoffs. So
Either way,
that could still happen on TBS. Excuse me.
yeah, exactly. And like my thing, it isn't really
Okay.
it isn't really the network that's the issue and the things to worry about. It's more the promotion and time slot and making sure that people know to go to TBS, to go there and make sure you're watching and catching it. The preemption, those preemptive type of dates, that does throw things off because you got to have a regularity, you got to have a schedule, you got to make sure it's in people's heads as they watch it. Because like even this week, I forgot that Dynamite's on Friday this week, and I turned it on yesterday, and I was like, oh shoot, no wrestling. Oh yeah, NBA playoffs. Forgot.
Yeah. So the next 2 weeks, Dynamite will be on Friday due to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tomorrow night. They're on at 10:30, and then next Friday they're on at 10, I believe. And
Yeah,
that's they might have to move again.
yeah. It all depends on how the playoffs go. So, but as long as they do the consistency thing, and as long as the people get to know what's going on and what's happening, I think it's going to be fine for them. It's just going to be a move to TBS, and it's no big deal.
Okay, here's the big WWE news. So this was also while we were off on hiatus. WWE returns to live events with 25 city tour beginning July 16th. So this is WWE officially returning to live fans in attendance throughout the month of July. And it starts, let's see, July 16th with SmackDown at the Toyota Center in my hometown of Houston, Texas. Money in the Bank on Sunday, July 18th at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. And Monday, July 19th, Raw at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. So you can have a fully sold out event in Texas right now. So that's why they're hitting Texas first. Texas is making out very well from this. Toyota Center and American Airlines Center are very good arenas. UFC has already been running in Texas at this time. So I think the events will probably do well. And then let's see. Okay, so then they announced the next three. SmackDown July 23rd in Cleveland, Ohio at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Monday, July 26th at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. And Friday, July 30th, SmackDown Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So WWE is going full steam ahead on live touring with ticketed fans. Any thoughts on this, Michael?
They had to make an announcement already. They had to.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see they're going back on the road because AEW just did it before they said
they
it.
did.
And they had no choice but to do it. And I think it's a good thing. I want to be able to go back into it. Like I was talking, had an interview yesterday with a famous musician.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him I want to go back out and see them in concert. And I want to be able to go back out and have it open. Is it too fast? I don't know yet. But it seems that we're gonna have to see.
Now, isn't California supposed to fully reopen by June 15th? Is that our situation?
Yep, that's
okay.
June 15th.
So I guess it's conceivable things could start moving over here after June, but when you have to make these decisions right now, these are the states that are open where they can run events right now. And look, I'm not saying you don't have to be cautious or concerned if you're concerned about the pandemic. And if you don't feel safe, you shouldn't go. I agree with that. It's like kind of going to the movies right now.
Yeah.
And I think if you still feel like you should wear a mask, do that. But I don't think there have been a lot of super spreader things coming out of what's been happening lately, I think, with UFC or anything. So it seems to be getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I think
okay.
Just one thing, we're going to be attending an event next week, next Wednesday possibly, and they're asking that if you show up for this, it's a film festival.
Yeah.
And if you show up for the film festival, you must show that you've been tested 24 hours before, or show your vaccination card. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna see there's gonna be a lot of blowback and a lot of people, but in order to open things up, I think certain states are gonna be either showing something or requiring, because I know Staples Center.
Well, I'll tell you, we just started having some movie screenings here, like our first movie screenings in the past couple weeks.
Have you?
In the LA?
Have you already been having live movie screenings?
Yes.
I know I haven't been able to be nor invited, but that's a story for another show.
This is part of the hustle, Mike. But yes, I have had live movie screenings, and some of them have required a health screening form. Mm-hmm. And we're still having to wear our masks in the theater. So that's not a big deal. And we're still social distancing in the theaters.
Do they make you turn your head and cough before going into the theater?
No, it's just like a list of questions. You're not feeling sick. You haven't knowingly been in contact with anyone with coronavirus, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a short questionnaire. Mm-hmm. They're not testing you or requiring you've been tested.
Because if you have to turn your head and cough, I hope whoever's doing it warms up their hands.
But yeah, but you know, if you're concerned or cautious, I don't think there's anything wrong if you want to play it, if that's still a concern for you right now. You know, because we still are in the pandemic. The pandemic isn't over yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the other big story while we were on hiatus. So this came out May 19th. NXT released a bunch of people. They released referees, they released wrestlers. So here's who they released from NXT. Alexander Wolf from Imperium is gone. Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, Kavita Devi, Ronda Rousey's friend and Four Horsewomen buddy, Jessamine Duke, Vanessa Bourne, former NXT head referee Drake Wirtz, and former NXT referee Jake Clemens. They are gone. Any big surprises here, Mike?
Well, there was one you mentioned him, right? Who got released? Velveteen.
Well, that's the next one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that was my biggest shocker. But
Okay.
out of these,
Yeah.
what's his name from Imperium was shocking.
Wolf,
Yeah,
good wrestler.
that was shocking because
He was just on TV.
yeah, and they've been pushing Imperium. They've been doing a lot of things with them, and now all of a sudden you let one of them go, and it's like, okay, what is this all? Like, what are they gonna do with them now? Are they gonna break it up and see where they go next, or what?
I think Wolf, he was good in Sanity.
Hmm.
He was great in Imperium. I don't understand that. I don't understand this move
Yeah,
personally.
I don't get it because I don't know where they're. It's like you don't want to see a faction like that being broken up
Right.
because we're already seeing a lot of factions breaking up already, or then breaking them up. But this was a good one. This one made sense to a storyline, made sense to what they were doing. When they're in the ring, they did great work in the ring. All of them did great work in the ring. So Wolf getting released is kind of, to me, was a shocker. Out of that whole list, that was the shocker because it's like
And
I don't know where they move forward
I
with.
just felt Wolf was a good worker, had a great look, had a lot of upside. You want to keep. I think you want to keep a talent like that locked down. Okay, so now here was the other big one. This came out shortly after all the NXT releases. Velveteen Dream is out of the WWE, out of NXT. He impressed everyone on Tough Enough. Came into NXT, came up with this sort of the artist Prince type of character. Was sort of wowing everybody. Allegations came out against him back in I think 2019, and then we started seeing less and less of him on TV, and now he is gone. Thoughts on Velveteen Dream being gone?
It shocks me that they've waited this, like, if, like, I was thinking he was fine. He was
Okay,
clear. Whatever happened in
okay,
2019 was already over with, and that he was going to continue because if it was such a, if the 20 what happened to him in 2019 was such a big deal, I think they would have released him back then, or if it was real, or if they had found evidence. But to release him now seemed kind of odd to me. Like,
okay. So the first allegations for him hit in early 2020, and then more allegations hit, and then Triple H said during I think a media call that they investigated the claims and they didn't find anything. That's Triple H, who's a
mhm,
WWE executive now.
right.
Um, and then we didn't see him on TV. We haven't seen him on TV since last December. So I don't know what they were trying to do with him. There was talk of him being in a car accident of some sort, and then I think Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live said there were behavioral issues with. So apparently there was backstage conduct issues with Velveteen Dream, and there were with Drake Wirtz as well, one of the
Mhm.
referees who got released. So I don't know. Do you
Do you
think
think,
this?
I
What?
was gonna say, do you think money wasn't like, maybe he was asking for more money, or making me ask to move into a SmackDown Raw type of, into the main card now, because maybe he got tired with the direction that they were trying to take his character.
Maybe I think maybe he got a big head, and he was being hard to work with backstage. Rob Schamberger, who's he's a WWE artist, does that canvas to canvas show for them on YouTube, does those portraits, does art projects for WWE, all sorts of things. He called Velveteen Dream on Twitter after he got released. He said he's the most unprofessional guy I've ever worked with. And Rob Schamberger is like one of the nicest guys in the world. Never says a bad word against anyone. He publicly trashed Velveteen Dream. Now, I think for him to do that, like that was shocking to me. That was the most shocking thing of this whole story. So, and I don't take Rob Schamberger as a liar. So,
well, I mean, especially since there's no reason to. He's never put up anything to think
right.
otherwise.
So for
when he
him
says
to,
that,
yeah,
it kind of brings it. It gives it some validity.
yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen here to Velveteen Dream. And do you think his wrestling career is just done for good with all?
I think so. Because I don't see him going somewhere else and actually doing.
It's just that wherever he goes, those allegations are going to follow him.
That too.
And
that's true.
And look, he hasn't been arrested or formally charged with anything. So, I mean, if you want to talk about innocent and proven guilty until proven guilty, that's the innocent until proven guilty thing. He hasn't been arrested. He hasn't been charged with anything, but his professional career as a wrestler is likely done.
Yeah, because wherever he's going, he's gonna be. That follows you, even if you're not guilty, you never did anything. It's still gonna follow you.
But this is just crazy because he was this promising young star. It looked like when he was at the top of his game on NXT, it looked like he was going places. Yeah. So it's nuts.
He was North American champion.
Yeah.
They gave him a belt. They gave him.
He beat Gargano. Yeah. He beat Gargano. He was getting showcased a lot. Yeah. Triple H clearly liked this guy. You know,
and he was in the middle of the NXT championship hunt at one point, so there had to have been something they liked about him. But maybe after that, going for the NXT championship hunt, the exposure, the increased exposure, the more the fame starts coming your way, maybe it got to his head.
I'll tell you one thing. Now, I've talked with JR before, not to name drop, but
oh no, go ahead. That's fine with me.
You know, JR talks a lot about reliability, you know, when you're in these spots. And I think that's one reason this was back when he was doing New Japan commentary, and he was doing I got invited to the Access TV office when he was doing a New Japan show. And it was a match with AJ Styles. And this was not long after AJ Styles had gone to WWE and become a WWE World Champion. And he talked about, you know, AJ Styles is reliable. He's not a druggie. He's not going to embarrass the company, that kind of thing. And when you're given the opportunity for those spots, reliability is an important thing. And it just, the sense I've been given, not just the allegations, but Velveteen Dream really just lost all reliability in the eyes of WWE.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you lose that, it's very hard to get back.
Exactly.
Okay. Moving on from that, the head Raw broadcaster, Aiden Burke, is gone from WWE. Aiden Burke, who joined the company on April 12th, was released from the company on May 25th. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Aiden Burke is gone from Raw. I guess we're going to need a bigger boat.
Is Pat McAfee next?
He could be.
I may be the only. I don't know. I just don't like the guy when he's
okay.
In but I'm just like.
Okay, but at least Pat McAfee had a back. Like Pat McAfee was doing stuff with NXT before he got the SmackDown job.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where Aiden Burke even came from.
ESPN.
ESPN? They just pulled him from ESPN, dropped him in, see what he could do?
They didn't pull him from ESPN, but that was like he was a legit, like big time sports broadcaster
Mhm,
when they brought him in. Had no prior pro wrestling experience. Not even sure if he was a fan of pro wrestling at all. I don't think he was.
mhm.
But WWE and Verk have parted ways, and this is 2 days ago. So he did. It did look like he left on good terms, but
Mm. But
6 shows, man. He's like the
but
permanent new head broadcaster. He's gone after 6 weeks.
yeah. But what did you think of his broadcasting skills when doing Raw? Because to me, he was boring. Like he didn't know. Like you could tell he didn't know about what was going on, and he
He
knew
didn't.
how to play it off of a script.
Wrestling is. Here's the thing. Wrestling is like not like anything on this earth.
Mhm.
Like to be a wrestling broadcaster, it's like it's not like you're doing a sporting event and then it's both like a soap opera, an action adventure serial, and a sporting event. It's like all those things combined, and it's not something you can. They threw him into the deep end of the pool with the Sharks, and
Yeah.
you can't. If you want a career in wrestling broadcasting, I think you can't. You need to work your way up to Raw. You need to start somewhere, whether it's the independents, whether it's the B or C shows. He never got that. You can't
Mhm.
just throw a guy into that.
Yeah.
So,
And the way I equate it, you
okay.
do it a lot nicer, but I do it. It's like a circus,
Yeah.
and the announcer is the ringmaster who controls everything and how the timing and the pacing and
All right.
everything, and try to get people excited for what's coming up next. And he didn't have that. He didn't have that where like, and you see it like a JR,
Okay.
even Michael Cole, even though sometimes he wears me thin sometimes.
All right.
But they've been around and they've done it. They've not just done it at the top level, they've done it on the in the smaller gigs and where they start and work their way up. So they know how to control what's going to happen and what the script's going to be like, what to look forward to, how to react to it. Not react to it like you know, react to it like you don't know.
So here's literally the next day we got Aiden Burke's
Mhm.
replacement. So here we go. Da 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 da. Jimmy Smith, formerly of UFC, formerly of Bellator MMA, and formerly of American Ninja Warrior. Jimmy Smith is the new head broadcaster of Raw. He is the new voice of Raw. He is the voice of WWE now. Jimmy Smith joins WWE Monday Night Raw. WWE today announced that Jimmy Smith will debut as the new play-by-play voice for Monday Night Raw starting Monday, May 31st on the USA Network. Smith has been doing some work with WWE. He served as an analyst for NXT, where he hosted NXT TakeOver pre-show panels and worked on several projects for the Black and Gold brand. He's also the host of Sirius XM's Unlocking the Cage and was the host of American Ninja Warrior on G4. Okay, Mike, Jimmy Smith is the new voice of Raw. MMA guy. This is an MMA
Yeah,
guy. He's a
and
former MMA fighter.
at least he worked at NXT
Okay.
and was on the desk.
Okay.
So he kind of has an idea, hopefully, of what he's about to step into. But
That's
how is he gonna
working
do it?
on the desk in pre-show panels for NXT. That's different
Yeah, a
from
lot different.
having Vince McMahon in your ear for 3
Yeah,
hours every week.
and saying
Is
cut that.
anyone
This is that.
surprised? Is anyone surprised Aiden Burke wanted out of there? Come on.
No, no, and I think that
I don't think I could last with Vince McMahon in my ear for
no,
3 hours every
no,
week.
especially with all the stories you've heard over the years about him
Yeah.
changing things on the fly
Yeah.
during the show. That would screw like it would screw any professional announcer up. Even
Taz
yeah,
and Mick Foley, they couldn't
hmm,
take it.
yeah,
And Taz is a great announcer.
hmm,
He and Cole were great on SmackDown in their
yeah,
heyday. Uh,
yeah.
Taz could not take it anymore. He just like, I'm done with this.
And that's the one thing I'm kind of curious. Why did they throw him into the fire right now instead of putting them like as a side analyst, like a color analyst or somebody. I mean, they've had 3 people on Raw.
I have a couple things about this.
Mhm.
Supposedly, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that they've been training Smith, and he's the best. Apparently, Smith is the best guy they've been training.
Hmm.
That's Dave Meltzer's reporting on this. Here's my thing: Smith, through his career, has never done play-by-play, as far as I know.
Mhm.
Bellator MMA, he was the color analyst. UFC, where he was in UFC he spent 1 year there. He was a color analyst. Now they want him to be the head play-by-play guy as Raw. Being a color analyst is not the same as the play-by-play guy. Like you said,
Oh,
to be the play-by-play guy, you are the voice of the show. You are
mhm.
the ringmaster. You are the guide of the show. I don't I don't know if he can handle that.
Yeah.
Because to go from color, from your whole broadcasting career, from being the color analyst to the play-by-play. I'm not saying it's impossible and you can't do that, but that's a big leap. It's a
Yeah.
big leap, Mike.
And I don't know why they didn't go like after an old wrestler that's no longer wrestling anymore, part of the
Mm.
WWE family, and bring him in and just kind of work with him. And since he already knows, a professional wrestler would already know what to expect and what to go into instead of somebody
Like
from the
Josh
outside.
Matthews.
Yeah, look at what Josh Matthews has done since he left WWE at Impact.
Yeah.
Great announcer, great talk, great voice, everything. I interviewed him. I've talked to him at the Access Studios. He knows what he's doing. He knows what to go in. He knows what to expect and how to hold the audience. If you can't hold the audience and those ratings go down, who do they blame?
And Josh started out as a wrestler,
Mhm.
he wasn't tough enough.
Yeah.
Then he went to Velocity. He worked his way up to SmackDown. He
Yeah.
worked his way up. And by the time he got to SmackDown, he was totally experienced and ready for that job.
Mhm.
Okay. So
But here's
speaking
the
of
thing.
announcer, okay, yeah.
But here's the thing with
Mm,
everything going on, it may help every other wrestling promotion if they don't do well,
mm,
because people are going to start dropping off. People are going to say, I don't like listening to this guy, because
okay.
the person you hear the most is that lead announcer, the guy who holds the show. If people do not like him, you're going to see people jumping ship to other promotions and start watching them.
Aiden Verk, here's my basic conclusion. You cannot become the voice of a flagship wrestling show without any wrestling. You need wrestling experience, and you need thick skin because you're dealing with Vince McMahon in your ear for 2 to 3 hours, and you need to have done it on a smaller show, either at a regional level, an independent, some other wrestling organization before you do the big league WWE show. And you
Yeah.
need to be and you need not maybe not be a fan, but you need to understand wrestling. You need to understand the psychology of a wrestling match. You need to know the moves. You can't just say what a maneuver all night. You don't need to know all the moves, but you need to know chain wrestling, the finishers, all that, the
Yeah.
psychology of a match, and the storylines.
Uh-huh.
And then Verk just didn't get that. Like Verk say like Kofi Mania back in the day, things like that.
Yeah.
Ugh, okay. Jimmy Smith primarily comes from MMA, and MMA is just not like there are similarities between MMA and pro wrestling, but they're as different as cats and dogs.
Yeah. Well, one is scripted and the other one is not.
Yeah,
I mean, you get a script,
yeah,
but they're not like when the fight starts, you're going off of whatever analytics that you have on
yeah.
your desk, what they've done in prior matches, things like
What they've
that.
done in training, things like
Exactly,
that.
exactly. And you're calling it as you see it. Whereas with wrestling, everything is scripted and you're calling it like if you're pretend it's an acting job pretty much. It comes down to that. It's like acting. And you're reading off of a script, you're making it seem like if you're calling it The way
And
you
but
were
you have to make it sound spontaneous and real.
exactly, and you have to be able to pivot when you have Vince McMahon going, "Ah, we're gonna get him out right now and take him out and
Do you
get
remember
back on
Vince
the card."
McMahon? Do you remember Vince McMahon's announcing days? Because
Yeah.
he used to be the lead play-by-play guy in like
Yep.
the from basically like the 70s to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, his thing, here's what he would go. Here's what he would do all the time. He would go, at the cover, 1, 2, 3. He got him. No, he didn't. That was his thing. That was Vince's thing as a play-by-play guy.
Yep.
Okay, so fast forward to today. Speaking of the announcers, Tom Phillips, the former Raw lead announcer, is gone. He is gone from WWE. So this is from Fightful. While Tom Phillips has not been officially let go, he's the latest in a string of releases affecting backstage personnel, and even WWE studios. We've reached out to WWE for confirmation, but have yet to hear back. We aren't sure of the specific arrangement in place for his departure from WWE. So before Aiden Burke came on to Raw, Phillips was the lead play-by-play guy, and then he was moved to 205 Live. So now Tom Phillips, a guy who had done Raw before Aiden Burke, is gone too.
Mm-hmm.
What? So now they don't. If Jimmy Smith doesn't work out, they don't have Tom Phillips. So what are they going to?
If Smith doesn't work out, we're going for Jeffrey. I'm throwing your hat in the ring. I'm throwing it in. Screw it. Jeffrey Harris.
I'll tell you.
Play-by-play color guy for Raw.
I'll tell you. At WrestleMania Access, like, I would do those like little they would have those make your own commentary videos, and I had a lot of fun doing those, and I always used to think it was something I could do back in the day.
Look it. You know wrestling.
Yes.
You know the wrestlers, you know their finishing moves, you know what they do. You can read off of a script.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can have Vince McMahon going on your ear.
The thing is, if Vince McMahon was in my ear, I would probably say something passive aggressive to him.
Yeah.
And I would probably tick him off.
Probably going, let me do my job and shut up. Like,
I know what the name of the move is. Vince.
Yeah.
I probably. Yeah.
And I'm not going to use moves, and we're not going to name moves that other people are doing at other promotions and calling it here. Like was it the One-Winged Angel or the Falcon Arrow?
Right, exactly.
I was like, when in the hell did they start using this move?
But this is a problem because Tom Phillips, like, he's not my favorite announcer, but at least he's capable of running the show, So if Smith doesn't work out in this play-by-play seat, like, Phillips is gone. So this is a big problem for WWE. They're getting rid of everybody. They're getting rid of
Now here's the one thing I need to ask you.
Yeah.
Can he take a hit?
Who?
You.
Like a bump?
Yeah.
Like a bump? Yeah, sure.
See?
Sure.
You qualified already.
Yeah.
You're more than qualified. You can
I'll take one for the I would take one for the team.
Yeah,
but do you think Jimmy Smith, okay, if Verk lasted 6 weeks, Jimmy Smith over under 6 weeks?
4.
Really?
Because I don't think they're going to give him the time that I don't think I think he's going to have to show up from the get-go right off the bat. Cuz now that they're going live,
okay,
and they're going to go back on the road, the road thing is going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
And that's the thing they're going to have.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, because in July, you're not going to have the Thunderdome anymore. You have to, and you're going to have live fans back, and that's a whole other. That's like learning. It's like learning to walk all over again. It's like learning to ride your bike without training wheels.
Even though the fans cannot hear you, they're gonna let you know if you if you mess up. Sorry for my French.
Okay.
If you mess up, because when they announce I don't know how many people who listen or are watching us on YouTube have been to a WWE event. We both have. And I remember when Jim
Mm-hmm.
Ross, when they would call him out, the cheers would just be so loud, almost as loud as the wrestlers. The King Jerry Lawler would come out,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be cheering. Michael Cole would get his traditional boos, depending on what it is, and then he'll get his cheers. I don't see somebody like Smith coming out
Okay.
and getting that type of reaction unless because he doesn't have that lot big of a window unless he hits it out of the park during the time they're still doing Thunderdome.
So Michael Cole does SmackDown. If Smith weren't to last on Raw, I would assume they would get Michael Cole,
Yeah,
maybe for a temporary fill-in.
yeah.
But let's see.
But
Now,
doesn't
who's gonna?
Michael Cole isn't Michael Cole in charge of the broadcasting teams and everything?
Yes. Supposedly he was, and
Mhm,
apparently, from what I was reading, like Phillips was sort of taking a more authoritative role with the broadcast team, but now he's gone. So that is so weird. It's just so weird. Pat McAfee is play-by-play on SmackDown.
mhm.
I think Nigel McGuinness is great.
Yeah,
I mean, Nigel is a color guy. So is Pat
mhm.
McAfee. Um,
And I
I'm
don't
just looking. I'm looking on the list of broadcasters. I don't know who else they have who could be a play-by-play. Oh, Kevin Patrick maybe,
mhm.
because Kevin Patrick does main event, so maybe him.
Yeah. I don't
But
know. I mean, they don't have a deep
they're running
roster.
out. They're running out of people.
Yeah,
They're just running. Maybe okay. Vic Joseph maybe.
maybe.
Okay, Vic Joe. Okay, so
Or
they have
that
Vic
girl or
Joseph.
that girl who does the Raw after show. What's her name?
Kayla Braxton.
Yeah.
Does
Maybe
she
they'll
know?
throw her.
Okay, but does she know how to do like play-by-play analyst work? That's. I'm not saying a one. Look, I am not
I
saying a woman can't do that, but
no,
it's a
but
big leap.
but who else do they have? When you look at
Okay,
if you go
okay.
down the
So
list, who else do you got?
they
You
have
got a
Vic
Smith.
Joseph. They have Vic Joseph from NXT,
Um,
Kevin Patrick from main event, and they have Michael Cole on SmackDown. So that's who they have.
yeah.
As far as experienced guys who have done play-by-play commentary for the WWE style, that's who they have. But no, they don't have a lot to fall back on right now, and it's
Mm-mm.
kind of scary because they're firing everybody. They're
Yeah,
firing the whole like half the company.
exactly.
Half the company is getting laid off. Speaking
Right
of,
when you're gonna go on the road, and
yeah.
I don't. That's why I say Smith is gonna have to do something big, and really show himself, because the window is very tight.
Okay, so speaking of, so the other big thing that happened this week, yesterday, staff layoffs. So WWE laid off a lot of department. They laid off a lot of departments that were supposedly redundant, and now they're folding them in and streamlining because supposedly because in July, now that they are going back to touring, they want everyone returning to the offices. A lot of people have been working at home due to the pandemic. Now they're reopening their offices in July to prepare for the live touring and whatnot. But in doing so, they've cut a lot of people back. So a lot of people got laid off, including some people who have been there for years and a lot of executives. They held an all hands on deck staff meeting with WWE President Nick Khan and CFO Kristen Salen yesterday. This is from PWI Insider. It was announced that employees would be returning to their offices in Stamford, Connecticut in July. So this is the same month they're going to be returning back to live touring. Previously, employees had the option of working from home as much as possible due to the pandemic, depending on their division. Some departments will be returning to offices full time. Others will have the option to rotate working from home or at the office several days a week, depending on their department. Again, and then they laid off a lot of people. So what the hell, Mike? Crazy.
I'm telling you, we take a week off, and look at what happens.
Almost like this is our fault.
No, it's not our fault. It's just I think we need to be on the.
It's
We
a
probably
bad
need to be on the air every week
it's a
and make
bad
it.
omen.
I'm telling you.
It was an omen just of the whole industry.
Yeah.
So some of these staff layoffs. Let's see. James Wortman had been with the company for 11 years as their content director. Another one, Adam Kirshner, who oversaw their media and metadata operations, had been there for a while. So apparently what they're going to do is they're going to streamline a lot of departments and fold them into each other. So
Mm.
I don't know. I mean,
And I'm pretty
is
sure
it
Peacock has, and when it comes to
okay?
metadata and content and everything like that, I'm pretty sure Peacock has people, and that's the reason why
Okay.
they probably trimmed down the staff.
You used to work at the Dodgers office, right?
Yeah,
So you've kind of been in a big sort of you know
been at a
corporate
few.
world setting. So
Hmm.
WWE, and granted, we've never had like a situation like this pandemic in our lifetime before, but they're adjusting due to the pandemic. They're a publicly traded company. They're going back to live events with live ticketed fans. Is now the best time to be laying off all this staff, in your opinion,
No,
Mike?
no, right now isn't the time you lay off staff. You get rid of the people that you really like. You really, really do not need
Okay.
things that in order to just kind of lighten up and prepare. But you don't get rid of big people. You don't get rid of big people when you're about to start the season. You don't get rid of big people when you're about to go live. Um, because it's just there's so many moving parts as soon as you go out there, as soon as you start production on these shows.
Okay.
And then it's the same thing like with baseball or basketball or even soccer. There's so many moving parts in order to make a like people don't realize like you could go to a game, sit down, you buy a ticket, you sit down and you watch a game.
Right.
But you don't realize like you got concessionaires, you got lighting guys, videographers, cameramen, ticket sale like season ticket reps, media guy, the media people behind to make sure the media moves and it covers. There's a lot of things and a lot of people in order to make a game or make a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown go.
It just seems like they've laid off all this staff right before, like right when things are going to be busier than ever.
Mhm.
Now, I've also read that in the past, WWE departments have been cut. I think the phrase PWI Insider used, they've been cut to the bone before and been able to deal with it. So supposedly the impression is that despite all these layoffs, all the departments will be able to deal with the ex. They will definitely be having bigger workloads now, but supposedly they will be able to rally and deal with the extra workloads, um,
Hope they get
despite being cut to the
compensated.
bone. Well, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
hope they get
this
paid
is. I
for that
mean,
extra workload.
I do feel bad for the people who are laid off because like even though things are gradually getting better, like this is not it's not a great time right now, you know?
No, no, it's not. And it's still
Um
hard for like for them to move
yeah.
on and try and find another job. It's going to be tough because we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it with a lot of people. It's
Okay,
crazy.
so other layoffs that happened were in the WWE studios. Okay, so yeah, they have WWE studios. So like that right now, like WWE studios is not essential to the live events and the touring and going to arenas. Those are the areas I think they should be focusing on. So I don't know. This
Yeah,
is just,
I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens because I don't know what it's going to look like or how it's going to do.
but
I'm sure
all these,
the
yeah.
fans won't see it, but in the background, you'll be able to
So
see it.
here's my issue. Like they're laying off all these staff people, talents, and then looking at Raw, Raw just seems the same every week. It's just the same
Yeah.
people over it. It's Raw is so stagnant right now, and it's the flagship show.
Well, it's just like yeah. I mean, it's so blah. I
Okay,
like
so
I was listening to Busted Open Radio because
okay,
I like
Busted
that
Open is
radio
a good
show.
show. They do
It's
a
a
good
really good
job.
show, and they were talking about like what's was it a McIntyre
Drew McIntyre, yeah.
and the fact that and even Bobby Lashley, like Bobby Lashley will eventually happen what's going on with McIntyre is going to happen to Lashley, and that McIntyre's already fought pretty much everybody on the
Right.
roster, which makes it boring after a while because then
Yeah.
you want to put them next to new competition. And they were saying like they should move him to SmackDown, mix it up, and get everything fresh again. It's not a bad idea because they should do like a shake up or anything like that, just to kind of like
Hmm.
redo the roster and give it some new life and see what it's like.
They probably will
Because
do one in the fall, though. I
yeah,
would
I
think.
mean, but that's the fall.
Right.
Like to get like right now, it's already kind of dead. And I'd like to see when they open up and they go on the road, how many people, what show sells out more.
That's
That's
right.
a
Because both Raw and SmackDown will be doing the tour.
and the first stop is a SmackDown show,
That's right. The July 16th one, which is the first one back, will be SmackDown on
and
Fox.
they have
SmackDown generally has a better show week to
yeah,
week.
yeah, and SmackDown because they have to. They
Yeah,
have no choice. They got their
because they're on
tie-in with
Fox.
Fox.
Yep.
They have the Fox money coming in, and Fox is saying like if the ratings go down, Fox is going to get on them. They have to. That's their boss right now is Fox.
Okay, so we have a SummerSlam update, and this one is of keen interest to you,
Yeah.
Mike. So, Sports Business Journal says the plan right now is for SummerSlam at an NFL stadium. Several locations are under consideration. So, here's what we are looking at. They are looking at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the NRG Stadium in Houston, in the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, and Nissan Stadium in Nashville. The only other stadium show for SummerSlam was 1992 at Wembley in the UK.
Mhm.
So this will be the first stadium edition of SummerSlam since 1992. Right now, the apparent date is August 22nd, which I believe is a Sunday.
Yes, it is.
Other reports are saying August 21st, a Saturday for SummerSlam, which is unusual for WWE.
It would be cool. It would be cool to see and switch it up because I think
Let's
you get.
see.
I think you would get more people on a Saturday than you would on a Sunday, but that's just
Okay. So here's WrestleVotes, which is, WrestleVotes is hit and miss from time to
Mhm.
time. So here's the issue with Las Vegas and Allegiant Stadium. Manny Pacquiao is fighting Errol Spence in a boxing match in Las Vegas. That's official for August 21st. WWE wants to do Saturday, and they also have August 22nd and August 7th, Saturday, August 7th, on hold for Las Vegas and Allegiant. And then what else? WWE Fightful Select says WWE officials hope to announce the SummerSlam date and location by Memorial Day, which is Monday, May 31st. So, what do you make? There's a lot of a lot of gobbledygook here. So,
Mhm.
what do you make
Yes,
of all
sir.
the gobbledygook? SummerSlam. What do you want? What do you want to happen here, Mike, for SummerSlam?
First of all, is Manny Pacquiao still a big enough draw to be able to something that you're competing against?
Yes,
Okay.
because he's Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah. And I'm
Not
just
as
trying.
big, not as big as he was
Yeah.
10 years ago, but
Yeah.
yes.
But that's why I'm trying to think like, okay, would he be able to like it's Vegas. They have multiple things there. I think you could friggin' like it's two different sets of fans.
Okay.
I think you could sell it out same way. I don't know if it's rooms or spaces for a
Well,
convention or
apparently
SummerSlam.
WWE is worried about doing a stadium show in Vegas the same weekend as Pacquiao.
Mhm.
That's apparently the worry.
Yeah. If it was like it was for Canelo versus Bradley,
Okay.
I would not put it towards that. I wouldn't even get close to that. Pacquiao,
August Saturday, August 7th though, like why? Why would you
yeah,
want to do
yeah,
that?
yeah. You're in the beginning of the well, you're in the middle of the hottest months in Vegas.
Yeah.
I would try and stay away from that one. At least the 22nd, you get the monsoons. It's kind of cool. It's hot, but it's
Okay.
people calms down. SoFi Stadium would be great, but I don't think they would do it because of the fact that next year, well, in 2 years is WrestleMania at SoFi Stadium.
Right.
It would be good because it's home for both of us. It's right in our backyard.
Yeah.
We don't have to travel far, but it works for us too in Vegas because we're gonna be there already because of CinemaCon.
Can you believe there's never been a stadium show for SummerSlam since the Wembley?
I'm shocked.
And
I
that
thought they
was, and that's we're almost 30 years since Wembley. It's
not
crazy.
even like a baseball stadium or anything like that. Because Royal Rumble has been doing the baseball stadium
Right.
tours, so I'm shocked they
Summer.
did SummerSlam.
So I want to look back. I want to look back at, so let's see. So they had a whole number of years at Staples,
Hmm.
at Barclays, Scotiabank, Amway Center for Thunderdome, and okay. Allegiant isn't official for this year, so let's see. Let's go back a little further. Conseco Fieldhouse.
Hmm.
So is that would that be a baseball stadium?
Conseco Fieldhouse isn't that in Indianapolis?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a football stadium.
No, it's the home of the Pacers.
Oh,
No, it's
that
not.
one.
That one's not okay. That
Oh,
one
okay,
is
yeah,
no. So that's basketball. Okay.
basketball.
Nassau Coliseum, not football.
Mm-mm. That's a
Target.
hockey,
Mm,
hockey basketball in New
mm,
York.
wow, Wembley was really the last big stadium was
Mm.
for SummerSlam. That's crazy because SummerSlam is a big event. They could fill a stadium for some of those SummerSlams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think they could, especially now. And you know what? I would put it in a brand new, just built stadium because there's people who would want to go in just to see it.
Allegiant in Las Vegas is that stadium though.
Yeah, and
So
SoFi is as well
yeah,
because those are the two stadiums that are brand spanking new. Nobody saw them due to COVID, so there wasn't an NFL season where you had fans.
you're right.
One is in the middle of Hollywood. The Las Vegas one has a club right behind the end zone. Imagine what you could do with a venue like that, with that club that they have on the end. It'd be awesome.
I think Skydome was kind of like that for
Yeah.
Toronto for
Hmm.
WrestleMania 6. I think at that time I think it was brand new when they had
Yeah.
Warrior versus Hogan.
And imagine that when you had the Hard Rock Hotel at the center field and the outfield.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to show that off. Like, there's different little marketing tools that you could do with these new stadiums because it's so brand new.
Now I'm looking at this photo of Allegiant in Vegas. I mean, it looks amazing. It looks like state of the art. It looks like it came out of Back to the Future Part 2, basically.
Looks like a giant Roomba. I'm just
Kind-
saying.
now let me look at SoFi Stadium. I don't think I've gotten a good look at SoFi yet.
Yeah. I've been in it during construction. I haven't
Okay.
seen it since completed.
SoFi's an interesting looking design too. It looks huge.
Hmm. It
So
is huge. It's big.
let's see.
I got a tour of the venue back when they were talking about the LA Bowl,
Right.
and they took us out to the field. What would be the field? They didn't have no grass or no anything in there.
Mm-hmm.
And from the field level, it is huge, and it reminds me of the aesthetic like Staples Center. When you got when you're at Staples Center and you walk through the tunnel and you get onto the court,
Mm-hmm.
Staples Center looks friggin' huge.
Now, what's interesting to me about SoFi, the courtyard area around the stadium looks very nice.
Hmm.
It looks very spread out too.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like the whole, they did a good job on these stadiums, on these new stadiums.
Interesting. So
Gotta pull them up right now.
now, do you have now between all the ones I named?
Mhm.
Do you have a preference?
Well, to be honest, depending on the date, like if it's the 22nd, I would go with Vegas. That'd be cool.
All right.
If it's August 7th, I don't mind SoFi.
Okay.
But that's SoFi Stadium right there. Picture SoFi Stadium. It's so weird because it's dug deep. So when you go into the stadium, you're actually walking in. You're already like in the middle court right here. I think you could. I don't know if you can see my arrow or my pointer,
I can see
but
it.
okay. So it's like right here was where you see the. Oh, right here.
Okay, there it is.
That's your entrance right here.
Wow. So that's the ground level.
That's the ground level,
That's it. That's it. That's so interesting.
and then it's dug 100 feet deep. So you're actually 100 feet underneath the ground.
Now
And that's not
is
even. I think it's
okay.
maybe
Okay.
half.
So those okay off to the left, those pillars. So this isn't a dome. It's
No,
like a covered. It's like a. It's like a covered.
open air stadium.
It's open air, but
Yeah,
it's fully covered.
you're right. Right.
So if it were to rain, the rain couldn't get in, right?
No, no.
Okay. That's interesting. Are there a lot of stadiums like this that are like open air but have like that full cover over the whole like bowl?
I believe in the United States, this is the first.
That's so I don't think I've ever
Yeah, because the
I don't
Raiders
think I've
have
ever
the
seen
same
anything like
panel.
this before.
The Raiders have similar paneling on the roof,
Okay.
and they have the
Right.
doors back here open up.
Okay. Cuz this isn't a retractable roof either, right?
No, it's not. It's the
Okay.
same thing like at SoFi. Same. I think it's the same materials and everything. It looks like it was constructed the same. The only difference is that here, where air could flow through each side and through different holes in the arena.
Okay. Now
This
is
this one it can only go through this door that they open up over here.
okay, now Allegiant Stadium is fully enclosed.
Right. Right.
Looking at man, Allegiant looks huge. Allegiant looks like it came out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah. To me, it looks smaller than SoFi.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know. I haven't seen a Legion Stadium. I haven't been. I haven't walked in there. I haven't seen it. Haven't don't know what it's like. Nothing. But I know there's a club somewhere in here that they just announced that they're putting in right in the end zone. I think it's over here.
I like ones though that have a retractable roof.
Yeah.
Because when it's nice weather, you can have an open air, you can have it open air, or you can enclose it, and that's good too.
Yeah. But Vegas, do you really want a retractable roof in Vegas? Vegas during the
No,
summer
no,
because it's still
no,
115 at night.
no, 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 no.
Nobody
Because
will be drunk jumping
I've
out the
been to
cannon.
Vegas in July, and it feels like it's 150 degrees,
Hmm.
and it feels like you're in. It feels like you're sitting in a rock in hell, and
Yeah,
even when you have AC, it's it's like you can never get cool, you know.
exactly.
But yeah,
That's why like I say, like if you're gonna like both of those stadiums are would be great choices
yeah.
because of the fact that they're new. People want to go in and see them. People will want to be experiencing that. You also got to look at it this way too. Like for the next, if they're doing it on a Sunday, there's their venue open for to host Raw. Uh, that's one other thing. And then
In
in
Vegas,
Vegas
there's
there is.
yeah.
Yeah, because you got so many arenas in Vegas.
You
You got
got
the
T-Mobile,
MGM,
you
you got
got MGM, yeah,
T-Mobile. Yeah,
yeah.
you even
Mandalay
have
Bay.
UNLV's running Rebels stadium basketball arena.
So by next week, we should know what the deal is with SummerSlam,
Yeah,
hopefully,
exactly. And
and you can start making your plans.
I'm betting on black for Vegas. So there we go. Because then two birds with one stone. May have to extend it a little bit, but hey, why not?
Okay, so now we're going to preview AEW Double or Nothing 2021. That is this Sunday, May 30th. They will be fully open to the fans at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. So this will be before AEW kicks off their live tour. They're looking to fully sell out this event on Sunday. This will be AEW's next pay-per-view event. So here we go. So on the pre-show, we have Serena Deeb defending her. This is the NWA World Women's Title against Riho. Decent matchup. Riho is the former AEW Women's Champion. Any thoughts?
Serena Deeb's gonna win
Okay. I'm also picking Serena Deeb.
easily. It's gonna be a good match, but she's gonna keep it. So there's no
Yeah.
way.
And both women are good workers though, so it should be a decent match. Especially that's going to be the free pre-show match. Okay, so let's see. I'm curious to see. I'll be curious to see how they lay this one out. Okay. For the AEW Tag Team Titles, it'll be Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. I'm picking the Young Bucks.
Yeah, same here. I don't think that's there'll be something that they'll keep the belts.
I
I don't know
like
if it's gonna be a
I
huge.
like Moxley and Eddie Kingston paired up, but I see no reason to take the titles off the Bucks for Moxley and Kingston right now.
I
Really.
agree. I agree. There's no reason to do it.
Okay.
Give it to somebody who deserves it.
Also in tag team, this is interesting. Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page.
That's gonna be an interesting
Hmm.
match. I actually want to see that one. That one sounds pretty interesting.
Let's see. How old is Sting right now?
58 because
No,
every time I
he's
ask
old.
him, he says
No. 62. Coming off a neck injury.
yeah,
I don't know how much we can realistically expect from Sting in this match.
especially after that neck injury.
Ugh. See, because that street fight, that was like a very controlled, like cinematic style, right? And
Yeah,
this is not a cinematic style match. So I don't know what he's. It's gonna have to mostly be Darby Allin here,
yeah.
which is fine because Darby Allin just doesn't care about his life
Mhm. And
and then his
Scorpio
well
Sky is
and his well
still
being.
yeah, and Scorpio Sky is still at, he's still at the top of his game.
Yeah, like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, they're great workers. Darby Allin's a great worker, but I think I guess it's going to be just like a couple spots from staying in, but I guess
Yeah,
we'll see. If I were to pick, hmm, Darby Allin is he's really over right now. But Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page really need a big win.
yeah.
So if it were my choice, I would have Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page would win, but I kind of feel like they're going to give it to Allen and Sting. But what do you think?
I'm with you on that one. I think I would rather see Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page win it. I think they have more. I think they're setting something up for them.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, what are they really setting up with Darby Allen and Sting? Other than Darby Allen's more of a singles
Yeah.
wrestler, so that's why I say I think Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky is going to be who take the victory, and let's see what they build out with him.
I don't know what they're going to do with now that Darby isn't champion
Yeah,
anymore. I don't know unless they have him break off from Sting and him and feud with Sting, but
I don't know.
we'll see. Okay, Casino Battle Royal. So we have, let's see. This is the AEW version of a battle royal. It will have Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Hobbs, Penta El Zero Miedo, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Henn, Isaiah Cassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Camaroto, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, and possibly more. So, big battle royal. Is there someone you want to see make a surprise debut? Someone you want to see win? What is going to happen here?
Well, let's put it this way: we've heard a lot of rumors. I've seen a lot of rumors that
Yeah.
Andrade is going to be appearing at
Okay.
don't hold it to word because
Right.
nobody knows.
Right.
But I've heard that, and we've seen that Andrade may be making an appearance. The former Big Cass, Morrissey, Morrissey,
Right.
may be making an appearance. Um, I'm curious to see who they do bring in though, because I think if they do bring in Andrade, it works for Triple A.
Okay.
Maybe they let him get the win because that was the same thing with Brian Cage.
Right.
He was working at Impact. He came in, did the Royal Rumble, won the token, got a chance at fighting for the AEW Championship.
Right.
And it seems like
That
that's a good way that they bring in a new wrestler.
And that's the thing. The winner of this match gets a shot at the AEW World Title.
And it'll be a good setup for Andrade versus.
Okay, but who are you picking to win the whole thing?
To be honest, I don't know.
I'm picking Christian Cage.
Because like when you
I'm
really
just
look,
gonna pick Christian.
because when you really look at the guys, it could go
You go many. I
any
could see it
any
going many
any
different
one
ways. Yes.
directions. And AEW isn't like WWE where you kind of know who's gonna win or who's gonna
Right.
be the top five who are left in the ring to fight it out.
Yeah.
On AEW, it's different because it's like they're all evenly. It could be anybody. It literally could be anybody. It could be Christian Cage. It could be Brian Brian Cage. It could be
Brian
anybody.
Cage isn't. I don't think he's going to be in the battle royal right now because he's wrestling. Here we go. He's wrestling Adam Page,
Oh,
Hangman,
Hangman.
1-on-1.
But even then, like it could have been anybody. Like it could be anybody. It could be anybody. It could be one of the guys from
I would give it to who I would give it to if who I want to win. I want it to be Jungle Boy,
yeah, that would be cool. That
but I
actually would
think
be a
it's going
good
to
pick.
be. But I think it's going to be Christian Cage. If
Hmm.
I were to make a who I think it's going to be prediction.
Yeah,
Okay, Adam Page versus Brian Page. Adam Page is looking for retribution against Team Taz and Brian Cage.
yeah. Even though it's kind of funny, I just was doing a little search really quick, and
Oh, okay.
yesterday, comicbook.com put in AEW Double or Nothing 7 potential surprise entrants for the Casino Battle Royal.
Okay.
Oh, this one is like really far fetched, but it'd be interesting.
Oh,
Here's
who
who
do you?
they. Here are the 7 that they think are gonna be a part of this battle
All right, I
royal.
want to see this
Possibly.
too. Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Number 1, Daniel Bryan. Not gonna happen. Andrade, I still say that's a possibility.
Okay.
Rich Swan, that's possible.
Rich Swan would be possible.
Uh huh.
Yes.
Moose, yeah, that's possible too.
Moose is possible.
Paul White,
Possible. Yes.
yeah, it's possible. It's not
Possible.
too far
He's under
fetched.
he's under contract.
Uh-huh. Hangman Page, he hasn't
Yes.
matched, but it's always possible with
It is
him.
possible. Yes.
Mhm. Speedball Mike Bailey. I
That's
don't
that's
even
a
know.
really that's a really that's kind of random.
Yeah,
Like a whole other guys could do that,
yeah, exactly. Like,
who's the other guy from the Rascals? Like Trey Miguel.
hmm
Like it could just like if you're gonna do speedball, it could be Trey Miguel or like Ace Austin or one of those guys.
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of like a random choice.
Does this guy even know what does this writer even know what like wrestling at all? Because the
Oh yeah, yes
Daniel
he does. Yes
Bryan
he
one,
does.
because the
I
Daniel
think
Bryan one seems very very
okay. It
far fetched.
seems it is far. I agree, it is far fetched. But Daniel Bryan is technically a free agent.
Hmm.
So do I think it's likely? No. Do I think it's likely? No. Do I think it happens? No. Is it possible? Well, I don't
Anything's
know. I don't. I
possible.
don't. Yeah, I guess because he's not. If he's truly not under contract with WWE, but if AEW were to do that, that would be huge.
Yeah,
And just speaking hypothetically, like that would be a big time moment for them, and it would break social media.
mhm. Would
So
he come back as Brian Danielson?
I think he'd have to.
Yeah.
I feel like Daniel Bryan was always his WWE ring.
Hmm.
Andrade. So Andrade, so it's interesting because the AAA match is happening in AAA in August.
Hmm.
So then, and that's just for the AAA title, not for an AEW title. So,
Right.
um, but it would be a way to like give Andrade a big debut.
And it does
So,
give since they have that partnership with AAA,
okay,
it may be something that sets everything up.
and they have a partnership with Impact.
Right.
So honestly, I think excuse me. I think it is mostly a good list. The only really weird choice to me is Mike Bailey. Other than that, I think it is a good list. But
I would like to
I
see.
think Daniel Bryan is a far-fetched choice. You can
I would like to see the
okay.
comes to AEW. If anybody doesn't know that symbol, it's the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, Alex Shelley.
Yeah, Alex
Oh,
Shelley come in.
he's still wrestling, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
do like Alex. I was a big Alex Shelley, Sabin, Machine Guns fan back in the day, in their TNA days. I love that team. I they're really good.
It'd be good to see them on TV, on like national TV.
I mean,
get that pop.
Here's you want to know the most far-fetched?
Which one?
Is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that is. I just don't see that even happening.
I don't see it happen
at all. I think WWE has him so tied up because I've heard rumors that he's coming back at SummerSlam. I've heard things that are gonna be like possibly later to set up a WrestleMania thing for next year.
I
don't think that's even. I think that like out of percentages, I'll give it a 5%.
If I were Tony Khan, this is just me, my opinion. To me, now is not
be the announcer for WWE Raw one.
Yeah, that's true. Yes,
true.
That's yeah.
Watch what you say.
Watch out, Jimmy Smith. I'm coming for your job. I would not invest in Brock Lesnar right now because if you're buying Brock Lesnar, it's going to be only a limited number of dates, and it's going to be a huge contract, and it's just not. And Lesnar only has so much time left. If Lesnar does work a few more wrestling matches, he's 43 years old. So you're paying 7 or 8 figures for a 43-year-old wrestler who you can only get a limited number of dates out of. And it's just not, to me, I'm always thinking about long-term, and it's just not a good long-term move.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan probably wouldn't, even if he doesn't work full time, at least he could probably work more dates than a Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
But
Daniel Bryan, I'd put that percentage a little higher.
Okay.
Like 20% chance that he will show up.
Okay.
Because I mean
fair enough.
He's not contracted right now.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's even wanting to come back to wrestle anymore. Those are
that's another good question.
He has 2 young kids. He's married now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even willing to come back anymore.
He's kind of done it all as a wrestler. He main evented WrestleMania twice. He's been WWE champion. He's wrestled overseas. He's wrestled in Japan. Yeah. He's been a champion in Japan. To scratch that sort of pure wrestling kind of itch. And then he's been a champion of Ring of Honor too. So he's done, he was sort of like the torchbearer and standard bearer in Ring of Honor. So, okay. So TNT title, Miro will face Lance Archer for the TNT title. What do you think?
That one's interesting. Both strong guys. I think Miro's going to keep the belt because it's still too soon. I don't think they're going to give it away this quickly.
Yeah.
But Lance Archer is it would be good to see him hold it since he's gotten close a few times.
I think Lance will get it eventually, just not here.
Yeah. I think Miro, they're going to keep him with him
because Miro, he just won it.
Yeah.
And he beat Darby Allin in that big matchup. So you can't.
Miro kind of has that look like he did it when he was at WWE.
Yeah.
When he was
he's a monster. He's a monster again. So
yeah, exactly.
You gotta use that a little bit. Okay, so in singles, it will be Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. This will be Anthony Ogogo's first AEW pay-per-view match. Anthony Ogogo is he's a former boxer. Now he's a pro wrestler. This is a big matchup for him, but he's going to job to Cody Rhodes. What do you think?
I want to see more from Anthony Ogogo.
So do I.
Everything that I've seen is just he's taken a couple jabs, taken a couple punches at people, but he hasn't been hit. He hasn't really done any traditional wrestling moves.
Yeah.
I think Cody Rhodes is gonna win, but I want to see more from Gogo. I want to see if is he serious about becoming a wrestler?
Yeah.
Is he gonna do the moves? What is he's able to work a storyline? We haven't seen that yet, so I want to see with that.
I think we're gonna find out if he can work a wrestling match here.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
But Cody Rhodes is gonna win.
Yeah.
Did you see that promo? Did you see everyone's getting on Cody because of that promo from a couple weeks ago? Did you see that?
Which one was it? The one that
where he talked about like being American?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like Dusty Rhodes, yeah.
Yeah. Doing almost the American dream type of.
Yeah, and now he's been constantly defending himself over it for the past couple weeks.
Yeah. I don't know. That one is kind of.
It was not. It was not a good promo, Mike.
Yeah,
I like Cody, but it was not a good promo.
Yeah, it wasn't a good promo, and I don't like this matchup either. I don't.
Matchup. I do like this matchup.
Which one's this one?
This is the women's title. Dr. Britt Baker, the role model, versus the champion Hikaru Shida. Is this the moment where the role model gets anointed?
Yes. They have to. I mean, after the match she had with Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
The matches she's had ever since then, the promotions and everything they've done. I think this is the time Britt Baker gets the belt and moves forward and sets up for something with Thunder Rosa later on.
Here's my thing. This is the match I am most nervous about the outcome more than any other match on this card. Because this is the only one where I really care about the outcome, and like I don't know why. I don't even know why I'm nervous, but like I really feel Britt Baker has to become champion here.
Yeah.
And ever since she said chubby Whataburger faces in Texas, I'm like, you got to make this woman a champion. Okay? And I feel this has been a gradual, long time coming. She is a homegrown star, and like I feel she could dominate this division like for a year. And Hikaru Shida has been champion a long time.
Yeah.
But I feel like Britt Baker could be the and when I say the Ric Flair of this division, I mean, I'm not saying she's Ric Flair. I'm saying she will be the heel champion everyone is chasing and trying to beat. That template of having a heel champion as the dominant champion who no one can just touch or no one can like unseat, like who always gets away, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
She's a pure heel. She's a great heel. And if she doesn't win, I will flip over my TV. I will flip over a desk or a table or something.
What if you're at the movie theater watching it?
I'll probably get kicked out. If I do the Cinemark Regal thing for this event, I'll probably get kicked out. Or I'll walk out. Yeah. If she doesn't win, okay.
Trust me,
if she doesn't win, I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna walk out, and I'm gonna be like, yeah.
But Jeffrey, I agree with you on this one too. Like, I would be angry if she doesn't win. She has worked. She has really worked and really put in a lot of time and really proven. Like I still say, her match with Thunder Rosa is still one of my favorite matches of the year so far. And we're coming close to the halfway point, and it's still an impactful match. If you don't give her the belt now, when do you do it?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Again, Hikaru Shida has had a long run with the belt. People, I think we're ready for a new champion, and we need a heel champion who's going to dominate and be champion for a while, who people are going to go after. Yeah. So that's kind of.
And what are the two big pay-per-views on AEW? All In and Double or Nothing.
and Full Gear Revolution.
Yeah, but the big ones like the
Yeah,
WrestleMania and SummerSlam level type of pay-per-views,
right,
All In and Double or Nothing.
right.
You got to give it because All In is until the fall.
You got to make a moment. You got to make a moment like this happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And before you go on the road, give her the pop now. Take her on the road, and just it'll work.
Right, because we're gonna have a full house
Yeah.
this Sunday for this event.
Yeah.
Okay, now just for example, so for the world title, we have a triple threat with Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, and Pac. I'm not nervous about the outcome of this match at all.
Mm-mm.
And for example, if hypothetically Pac or Cassidy were to win, like that doesn't make me nervous at all.
No.
I'm nervous because I've never believed like more than a while that someone has to win the title more than I think Britt Baker has to win it right now.
Yeah.
That's just why I'm nervous about that match.
Yeah.
This match I'm not nervous about though, just because it's a decent match. I don't think Kenny Omega should lose the title right now, but if he were, it wouldn't even upset me for some reason.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't upset me. I'll be okay with it. But he's not gonna lose it.
I don't think he is.
He has too many things coming up that are big, that are
Yeah.
so big that it will help drive AEW. Get some more eyes on AEW.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get rid of it. He's
Not
gonna
just not just yet.
Mhm.
Okay, so here we go. I assume this is going to be the main event, but I'm not sure. It's either going to be this one or the world title, I would assume. So we have Stadium Stampede. So we're going from Blood and Guts, and now we're back to the second Stadium Stampede. And this will be at the TIAA Bank Field. So this will be at the actual stadium while the rest of the event is in the Daly's place. So the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. So it'll be MJF, Wardlow, Shawn Spears, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood versus Inner Circle, Jericho, Jake Hager, Guevara, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz. So, also, if Inner Circle loses this match, they have to disband as a team forever. Pinnacle won Blood and Guts. I think the obvious outcome is Inner Circle gets the retribution here. What do you think?
I agree. I think the Inner Circle should win.
Okay.
I think the Pinnacle is gonna lose, and especially since Jericho has a new song dropping tomorrow.
Yeah.
With Quasi, it kind of kills it if he loses. But like, to be honest, I still think like the Pinnacle doesn't have that same pop as the Inner Circle did, and does. People are more excited now to see the Inner Circle than they are the Pinnacle. I think they're gonna win because it's still that pop. The Inner Circle's not gonna.
Okay.
Like something's gonna happen between them and starts a rift because MGF is gonna start something saying that it's because of you guys that we lost against them.
This early for Pinnacle? You think?
You never know. You never know.
I do think eventually.
Let's just put it this way.
Okay.
On yesterday on Busted Open Radio.
Okay.
MJF was on the show.
Okay.
And literally said how this is like a family. This is that. Really lovey-dovey for the guys and everything like that. But I'm like, you don't, and you could tell it was a work on radio to pipe up the show.
Yeah.
This weekend. And I'm just like, you don't really say that.
Okay.
When you just barely even and Jericho, or after he went off the air, Jericho came on 10 minutes later, and Jericho's like even said it like he barely knows these guys. How can you call them a family when he barely knows them? Whereas with the Pinnacle, I've known these guys for a long time.
I think eventually though
the Inner Circle. Sorry.
Well, look, I think Wardlow they've kind of set him up as like the Batista of the group to compare it to Evolution.
Yeah.
And I do think Wardlow is going to be like the Batista to MJF as Triple H eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that happens this weekend, but we'll see. I don't know if this is the end of Pinnacle, but I do expect Inner Circle to win this one.
Yeah. Same here.
Okay, so that is AEW Double or Nothing on pay-per-view this Sunday. So if Britt Baker wins, it's going to ruin my whole evening.
If she wins,
I if
I
Britt
was
Baker
gonna say if she wins. What?
if she loses and doesn't become
Okay.
champion, it's going to ruin my whole evening.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
I
I'm
agree.
nervous about. I'm nervous about that title match.
Yeah. I would be too because I don't know what direction. Like you never know what direction they're gonna
Yeah.
go for us.
Like, like a few months ago, I thought Eddie Kingston should have just beaten Moxley,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Just because I was like really, at that time, I was just like really behind Eddie Kingston.
Mhm.
And I'm like, give it to him. Like, let Kingston hold it for like 4 weeks and then just give it right back to Moxley just to kind of shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. But whatever. It's fine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just because like, man, because Kingston is just so good with his promos.
Mm-hmm.
And I just believe everything he says. But
Especially last week where he stole the was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago when he stole the Young Bucks shoes right off of their feet and they're all barefooted. That was great.
I feel even stronger about Britt Baker.
Yeah.
As strongly as I feel super like this is like Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 level to me,
Mm-hmm.
and how strongly. And look, this is not me simping for Britt Baker. I just really like her character. I really like how she's evolved over the last couple years and just sort of improved everywhere. And also chubby Whataburger faces. That's the other.
Right there, that sold it to you. Not the
Yeah,
Thunder
that
Rosa match, the blood, the intensity of the match.
all that's icing on the
That,
cake. All
yeah,
that's the cherry
yeah,
on top.
uh-huh,
Chubby Whataburger faces.
yeah, that
I
sold it to
want
you.
because they're going to be going to Texas this summer.
Yeah,
I want to be like
continue that at a
exactly.
Whataburger. Yeah,
How humiliating would it be to have this woman like come just riding into Texas with the AEW Women's Title and going to be like, "What do you think of me now?" Like all you chubby Whataburger face kids. Because I'm from Texas and I love Whataburger. Okay, she's talking about me.
and too bad you can't go to Arizona because I think that's like the closest Whataburger that is around. There's none in California.
No, there are no.
So
No, but In and Out is a In and Out. Look, In and Out is good. In and
yeah,
Out,
I'm, I'm
they
always
do a good job over there.
mhm.
I am and In and Out. I think they have In and Outs in Texas now too. That's the
Yeah,
other
they
thing.
do. They've
Yeah,
expanded.
they've expanded a lot.
Hmm.
Which I never thought they would have done, but
Well, me
it's
neither. Me neither. I've been
they've
here all
done
my
well.
life.
They have
Yeah.
done well though. Okay, so that is Double or Nothing. Any
Mhm.
other burning desires for you? Any burning?
Actually, no,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
none at all. This was a good show.
It was a great show. It was a very
Lot to
news
talk
heavy,
about.
a news heavy show, but there has been a lot going on the past couple weeks because again, after you went to Knott's Berry, the whole industry just went
Exactly.
crazy.
Let's see what happens next week. Well, next week we'll talk Double or Nothing. We'll see
Yeah,
what else is going on.
we're gonna
But
have Jimmy Smith's Raw debut.
yep.
We'll hopefully find out what's going on with SummerSlam and
Hmm.
where SummerSlam is going to be. If you need to
Yep.
make plans for Vegas for
Exactly.
CinemaCon week and double dip with
Hmm.
SummerSlam, so
Yep.
hopefully that will all be settled in the next few days.
Yep. And
But
then
yeah,
next week we'll talk about Frankie Monet's debut and see if she wrestles one more time, and we'll talk about it and what she's like because I think that's something we definitely will. I would like to go into because she's a
mm.
great talent.
but yeah,
Really.
a lot happened, a lot happened.
Yeah.
But it was a great to come back. It was great to come back to this thing, kind of just all this
Exactly.
insanity. Just this
It's
is
crazy.
yeah,
It's crazy.
this is an insane business.
But we got to end sometime and
Yep.
at 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's a good time to end. Hey, thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate being a part of this. Just an update. I am getting, we have 3 shows ready for the podcast. I had to throw some stuff in. So, especially for our sponsors, Tascam, got to throw in things and things like that. So, be patient. They're going to be going up very, very soon. And also, if you want to see, we got a lot of great interviews, a lot of things coming up. We're gonna be off. MUSE is closed, somewhat, except for me. I'm always working. on Memorial Day weekend because we want to enjoy it with our families, and because after June 1st, we got a lot coming on. There's a lot of big things happening. So stay tuned, thumbs up, subscribe, and everything like that. And Jeffrey, tell them what you got working on.
Okay, movie screenings actually happening again in LA right now, like in-person screenings for major films again. So go to 411mania.com, go to Movies TV. So check out my reviews for The Quiet Place Part 2, my review of Cruella. Disney's Cruella will be coming out shortly. And then also in the next few days, I will have my review of Fast 9, the Fast Saga, the new Fast and Furious movie, which I saw and I will be reviewing shortly. So that will be the next one. After that, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully some more exciting news in the wrestling world. Which
After that, we're gonna get you a Brian Pillman Jr. mullet. So when we do interviews at SummerSlam
I
in
want to,
Vegas,
yeah, I would, I could not grow a mullet as epic as Brian Pillman Jr. I could never, but I have great respect for his mullet game.
hey, let's see if we could do it by SummerSlam. It'll be great. But cool. Hey, thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next week. We'll be back 5 o'clock Thursday. We're there every Thursday, almost every Thursday. We'll be here. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
This Week in Wrestling. Thank you.